This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Well, good Friday morning. You made it to the weekend, waking up to a little bit of rain and a lot of wind.
Yeah, an interesting weekend ahead, too, with weather.
Oh, a lot is happening. Even today is interesting on its own because usually, as we get into the afternoon, we talk about temperatures warming up. Yeah, not today. We're going the other way. And we're also going to be watching drier conditions for later on today. But as of right now, we're focused in on those showers pushing through. Light showers showing up anywhere from near Cordon all the way up towards Bedford. Some more of that rain moving back into Jefferson County, Indiana. Also dealing with that line of some heavier rainfall and some gusty winds stretching from Litchfield all the way up towards Radcliffe through Shepherdsville and straight into the metro. So if you're traveling anywhere between Crestwood, J-Town, and Fern Creek, especially if you're going to be traveling on the Snyder 265 and Bardstown Road, you are going to be dealing with the heavier rainfall, the lower visibility within the next 20 minutes. For those of you further to the northeast, you're also seeing some more of that heavier rainfall south of 71 in Oldham County and now into Henry County. South of the parkways, still seeing that moderate to at times heavy rain showing up from portions of Washington County, Kentucky, down into Adair and Hart counties. So as we head over the next 12 hours, we will see that gradual drying trend through the next couple of hours. Really, as we approach 9 a.m., most of that rain should move out of our area and will stay on the drier side heading into the afternoon. Just saw 38-mile-per-hour wind gusts with those storms moving through the metro. Most of us dealing with wind gusts, though, between 20 and 30 miles per hour to start off the day. The wind calms down, becomes more northerly as we head into the afternoon behind the front. And that is why we're starting off the day in the 60s, but we are going to end up in the 50s for this afternoon. But we did see our official high of 68 degrees earlier this morning in Louisville. So that means we tied the record for this date. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:02, as Tawana was saying, you're going to need the rain jackets and definitely the umbrella, but hang on to because it's windy out there. You don't want it to blow away. But looking at the big picture right now, not too bad. This is 65 at Lincoln Bridge. We have some wet pavement out there, but things moving along pretty good right now. No crashes or major incidents to report as of right now. Things a little dicier on 65 at the outer loop. You see a lot more taillights out there. And again, you just want to give yourself a lot of extra space and time around the other vehicles as well. So we'll keep an eye out throughout the morning. A heads up for drivers over this weekend. Today, overnight closures will impact the Kennedy Bridge starting at 8 o'clock. All lanes of I-65 southbound, they're going to be closed just past exit 1 located in Jeffersonville. Crews are working to replace a bridge expansion joint. They hope to reopen all lanes by 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Shannon?
Thank you. This morning, another U.S. community is processing a violent interaction involving federal immigration officers. Investigators in Portland say a man and woman were shot by Border Control agents Thursday. Officials haven't given an update on their conditions. The Department of Homeland Security says it happened as ICE agents were trying to arrest a person they say is connected to a Venezuelan gang. In response to the shooting, Portland's mayor called on all ICE agents to leave Portland until the full investigation is completed.
Meanwhile, protesters in Minneapolis continue to mourn Renee Good. She was shot and killed by an ICE agent, and more demonstrations and rallies have sprung up across the country, including here in Louisville.
We want to let the people of Louisville know that ICE is already here, and what is happening in Minneapolis is going to happen here if we don't put a stop to it.
Last night, a protest was held at Jefferson Square Park.
It was organized by several groups, including Louisville's Party for Socialism and Liberation, Black Lives Matter, Students for Justice in Palestine, and Democratic Socialists of America. Protesters say the shooting in Minnesota has sparked fears about stronger ICE operations in Louisville. So far, Louisville has been spared from high-profile ICE sweeps after Mayor Craig Greenberg complied with a Justice Department request, which would place immigrant jail inmates on a 48-hour hold for the Department of Homeland Security. Protesters say they don't want to see ICE in the community.
I feel like the majority of this city should be out here because we are all at risk. I am certain it will be happening again and again and again from here on out until people come to the streets and make their voices heard and get loud and stop playing by the rules because they're not playing by the rules.
LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey also reacted to the shooting. He believes it was preventable.
There's a reason why we have policies that say don't put yourself in a bad position. That's why we have policies surrounding shooting at people inside of vehicles. It seems like it was something that, based on tactics, could have been easily preventable.
Federal leaders are supporting the ICE agent who shot Good. Homeland Security says she was trying to hit the agent with her car. Vice President J.D. Vance called Good's death a tragedy of her own making.
Right? Was she panicking when she drove into this officer, or was she actually trying to ram him? That's a reasonable conversation. What's not reasonable is for so many of you to plaster all over the media that this was an innocent woman and that the ICE agent committed murder, which is what many of you have said explicitly and some of you have said implicitly. That's what I have an objection to. The idea that this was not justified is absurd, and I think everybody knows it in their heart.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear was asked about the shooting during his weekly Team Kentucky briefing. This is what he said.
Yes, we need secure borders, but how we enforce our laws shows our humanity or lack of it. And this administration is definitely showing a lack of it.
Governor Beshear says he hopes the facts will speak for themselves as the investigation into the shooting continues. You can find more local reaction to the shooting on wave3.com.
A man is set to be in court today after LMPD says he shot and killed another man inside a car. Anthony Stewart is charged with murder. Police say he shot and killed Kayland Hinkle on December 13th. Officers found Hinkle inside a car on South 10th Street. The arrest report further states Hinkle and Stewart were in an intimate relationship. Stewart's arraignment is scheduled for 9 o'clock this morning.
A Kentucky lawmaker is explaining more about his bill that could lead to JCPS being split up. House Bill 11, sponsored by Representative Jared Bauman, would lay out a mechanism to break up the district. The bill would require a city council to vote on splitting a school district if it contains 50% or more of the state's underperforming schools, called comprehensive support and improvement schools. JCPS accounts for 41 of the Commonwealth's 53 such schools. Bauman says it puts pressure on the district to improve.
We can't be sitting here 5, 10 years down the road having the same conversations, wondering why a significant portion of our students in Jefferson County can't read or do math on grade level.
If the bill passes, it would also need to be approved by Kentucky voters at the ballot box. JCPS says they don't have a comment on the legislation at this time. Mayor Craig Greenberg and the Office of Violence Prevention are announcing the next phase of Louisville's Community Violence Intervention Initiative. It's a component of the mayor's Safe Louisville plan.
CVI sites are targeted areas where trained violence interrupters work to identify conflicts before they escalate. Rob Wells is back with details. Rob?
Olivia, Mayor Greenberg said that 1 year ago, violent crime had dropped in the targeted areas by some 62%. 1 year later, he's focusing on expanding the Office of Violence Prevention model to increase public safety and reduce violent crime. After input from communities, OVP prioritized adding parks inside of those new boundaries. The mayor is saying that it gives opportunities to connect with the community. In this phase, both Elliott and Wyandotte parks have been added to the initiative. Due to less violence in the Taylor-Berry area, the mayor said that the site will shift south and east to include the northern sections of the Jacobs and Wyandotte neighborhoods. The Russell site will expand, including Elliott Park and 4 blocks east to 18th Street. Officials say the plan has taken some time, but it is paying off.
Programs that we have in place are starting to mature. Many of these sites have been up and running for about a year and a half now, and we're seeing a lot of the dividends being paid from those. Everything from the contractors that are out in the communities are violence interventionists.
The Office of Violence Prevention was formed in 2013 and was formerly known as the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. It's modeled after similar programs in cities like Baltimore and Chicago. It offers programming for both youth and adults, as well as services for those impacted by violence. Olivia.
Thank you, Rob. Today is the day the Indiana Hoosiers take on the Oregon Ducks in the Peach Bowl.
It's a little over 12 hours from now. The winner secures their spot in the national championship game. The undefeated Hoosiers will be led by Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza at quarterback, and how he plays tonight will be key to the Hoosiers getting a victory. Head coach Curt Cignetti had high praise for Mendoza talking to the press yesterday in Atlanta.
I do think he prepares unlike anybody I've ever been around collegiately, and at the quarterback position, he wants to be great. His idol was Tom Brady. He's a real intelligent guy, and you've heard in his interviews how impressive he is.
He really is. If you haven't watched it, Watch that Heisman Trophy speech that he gave. It's awesome. Number 1 IU taking on number 5 Oregon tonight. Kickoff 7:30, and you can watch the game on ESPN.
So the winner of that game will play Miami. They won the Fiesta Bowl last night after beating the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss took the lead with about 3 minutes left, but Miami's Carson Beck, he threw that game-winning touchdown with just 18 seconds to go, and that was the nail in the coffin. Miami wins this one 31-27. The national championship game will be played in Miami on Monday, January 19th, so it'll be a home game for the Hurricanes.
They get a little bit of an advantage.
But IU fans travel well. I mean, they went all the way out to California.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I was looking at it because I was thinking, I could go, and $3,000 was like the cheapest ticket. So
yeah, a little bit of
on the pricey side. Today, hundreds of vendors are ready to help you make improvements to your home and garden.
We'll take you inside the Home and Garden Show happening at the Expo Center this weekend.
Now, if you plan to spruce up your home this year, you can find a lot of inspiration from some of the top trends, new designs, and more at the Kentucky Exposition Center.
This weekend is the Louisville Home and Garden Show, where there will be more than 300 exhibitors specializing in home improvement and outdoor living areas, offering so many options there. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is talking to a garden expert about what you can find there.
I do not have a green thumb at all, but that's why you need to come out and talk to the master gardeners like Mary Wheatley. And Mary's expertise is in the herbs, and so there's a special way that you can keep basil that some people, they might be doing it wrong.
Well, it's one of the, you asked earlier about some most asked questions. Why is my basil dying? Why did it just grow straight up and then turn brown? And herbs are one of my favorite things to talk about and cook with. And basil is something that people a lot of times get wrong. When you get one of these little pots of basil plants from someplace like Trader Joe's or whatever, there's a whole bunch of basil plants in here. And most people just take and pinch off at the top and then use that on their pizza or whatever. But if you'll go down into the plant, down to the bottom and pinch off, then you're going to get double the growth back. Oh, wow. And so instead of getting one tall plant that just immediately goes to flower and seed and then it wants to die, because that's what plants do. If they're an annual plant, they go to flower and seed, and then they continue their process, their life process. But this will help keep your basal bushy, and then just keep pinching off.
Just keep pinching.
Pinching off, and it bushes out. Every time you pinch back, instead of one stem, you're going to get two.
And see, it's all the little things that people may not know. And so maybe someone is watching and they're like, why are my plants dying? That's why you need to come out to the Louisville Home and Garden Show so that you can ask the master gardeners at work like Mary, who will be here this weekend, and maybe turn your house into an oasis, because that's what my plan is. So I'm going to have to check in with Mary next year to let her know how my progress has been.
That's right.
Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thank you so much. And Tawana's actually a pretty good gardener.
You are.
I learned from my dad, because my dad has a green thumb.
Oh.
So every time I have a question, I ask him.
But you even learned the basil trick from her today.
Yes, I did not know that you're supposed to pinch from the bottom. I was wondering why mine weren't, growing as much. But I was already thinking about it. I have to start those seeds up next month so I can get, new herbs and everything as we head into the spring season. So yeah, we're already thinking about that. But for those of you heading out this morning, we are talking about some spring-like storms in our forecast. We're watching that cold front getting closer and closer. And as it moves through our area, it will eventually kick all of that rain out of our region. Still dealing with some of these showers showing up from Seymour towards portions of Floyd County, all the way back towards English and Cordon. Also keeping an eye on some pockets of heavier rain towards Eminent, moving right along 64 in Shelby County. The metro drying out, but of course we have those Floyd County and Harrison County showers that will move back into the metro. Then for those of you further to the south in Bullitt County towards Radcliffe, south towards Litchfield, you are dealing with that line of heavy rain and gusty winds. Out ahead of that line, we're still watching additional showers from Springfield down towards Columbia. So we can actually see the airport a lot better now, but then, of course, the camera's still shaking there as we have some of those showers moving out of the metro, another batch trying to move in. We had wind gusts of 38 miles per hour at the airport in Louisville. Most of us, though, dealing with wind gusts right now between 20 and 30 miles per hour. Going to keep things pretty breezy through the morning hours, but once we get into the afternoon, that front moves through, the wind calms down with gusts at best near 15 miles per hour for later on today. It's been a very warm morning. In fact, I just double checked, we broke the record for this date. Currently seeing that record now sitting at 68 degrees for a high. That was earlier this morning. And while we're sitting in the 60s right now, we will fall down into the 50s for your afternoon temperatures. So a little bit cooler for the second half of the day. The rain that we're dealing with this morning moves out as we approach the 9, 10, 11 o'clock hours this morning, keeping it cloudy and dry for the afternoon. Another wave of rain trying to move in for late tonight into early tomorrow morning as we have another system pushing through our area for your Saturday. For tomorrow, going to see temperatures hovering in the 40s and 50s throughout the day. As we approach sunrise on Saturday, showers and thunderstorms start to take back over our region. A cold front Saturday afternoon will move all of that rain out of our area. Keep in mind, we've already seen around a quarter of an inch to an inch of rainfall in most spots across Wave Country. We'll add on an additional around 1/10 of an inch to an inch of rain, depending on where you are, throughout the day tomorrow. And Saturday will be windy with more of those gusts near 30 miles per hour. So that means we're going to feel more like the 20s and 30s as your Saturday goes along. Another system on Sunday will bring additional rounds of snow this time in our forecast, mainly scattered light snow showers and flurries flying throughout the morning into portions of your Sunday afternoon. Not looking at anything substantial, though, in terms of accumulations for that round. But we do see more of that snow popping up for Wednesday and the Thursday, then again as we get into the following weekend.
Interesting there. Thank you, Tawana. Today, Kentucky lawmakers are wrapping up their first week of the legislative session in Frankfort. More than 300 bills have already been filed. Another bill filed in Frankfort is Senate Bill 101. It would strengthen protections for school teachers. The bill will require students to be expelled for 12 months if they physically hurt school staff. It also requires reporting of all attempted assaults on staff, penalties for failure to report such incidents, and potentially prosecuting students 14 and older as adults. We're also tracking other bills filed in Frankfort. Lawmakers are making another attempt to limit the governor's pardon powers. Senate Bill 10 is a proposed constitutional amendment which would stop any abuse of a governor's pardon and commutation powers in the final days of their term. It was first filed in response to pardons made by former Governor Matt Bevin at the end of his term. As a constitutional amendment, Senate Bill 10 must be approved by 3/5 of both legislative chambers, then approved by voters at the ballot box.
And Indiana lawmakers proposing a bill that would impact impact how executions are done. Republican State Representative Bob Morris says lawmakers should volunteer to be on an execution team and carry them out themselves. As part of this bill, executions would not happen until there's enough people on the team and they're trained and certified. Morris says he is anti-death penalty, but if this law gets in the books, he says the same people who vote for it should fully understand what it means. Morris proposed ending Indiana's death penalty in 2024, but that effort did not gain traction. Indiana is actively addressing doxing through new legislation. Doxing is when a person knowingly or intentionally posts personal information of a targeted person as a threat online. Senate Bill 140 would criminalize the act, making it a misdemeanor or a felony. The bill is scheduled to be heard in committee next week. Still ahead, officials are already looking to July, planning for fireworks, or they're looking not for July, that's going to be April, looking how they're going to plan fireworks for this year's Thunder Over Louisville.
Hear how their search for the 2026 Festival Fanatic is going next. Oh, the Super Bowl right around the corner, and that means it's almost time for Animal Planet's annual Puppy Bowl. So even though we don't know who's playing in the Super Bowl, we know who's playing in this one. It's Team Rough taking on Team Fluff. This year's game will look a little different too. For the first time ever, there will be 15 pups with special needs, and a special exhibition game will spotlight senior dogs available for adoption. That'll be Team Oldies versus Team Goldies. In all, the Puppy Bowl will highlight 150 dogs from more than 70 shelters. For more information on those participating pups, you can visit puppybowl.com.
The search is on for the person who will detonate the fireworks for this year's Thunder Over Louisville. Yesterday, the Kentucky Derby Festival and Kentucky Lottery kicked off the search for the 2026 Festival Fanatic. That person will get a packet filled with Derby Festival themed prizes, including VIP treatment as the official Thundernator. Winners can also score $500, tickets to Bourbonville, the Great Steamboat Race, and a room at the Galt House for Thunder Weekend, which is really nice. You could earn a chance to win by buying lottery tickets.
Today through February 5th, purchase at least $5 of Pick 3 or Pick 4 at one of our retail locations, and tickets from either of these games purchased during this time frame will be entered, but the purchase must be $5 or more.
Yesterday marked 100 days until Thunder Over Louisville. It'll happen happen on Saturday, April 18th.
It's called the world's largest biscuit gravy competition. The Gravy Cup returns to Louisville next month. That'll be on February 28th at Louisville Slugger Field. More than 30 professional chefs and home cooks will showcase their best gravy recipe for the judges. They'll compete in 3 different categories, including traditional, non-traditional, and vegetarian. And it's not just a celebration of culinary talent, it's also a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Haven, and it sounds delicious.
It certainly does. We'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Ooh, tonight's the night. IU will take on the Oregon Ducks in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. The winner secures their spot in the national championship game, and the Hoosiers are undefeated this season, and that includes a win over the Ducks back in October. Kickoff will happen at 7:30 tonight. Wave Sports reporter Dusty Baker is there in Atlanta. We'll have reaction from players and coaches after the game, and we want a win for IU. Here's Tawana.
Yeah, we definitely want to win for them for sure. And for those of you heading out this morning, we are watching that wind and rain moving through our region. Some more of those spotty light rain showers in southern Indiana, and then we're seeing some heavier downpours showing up for those of you anywhere from LaGrange all the way south towards Hardin County, and some more of that rainfall in portions of Greene, Taylor, and Adair counties as well this morning. The wind has been strong with some of these gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. We did have that 38-mile-per-hour wind gusts at the airport in Louisville when that line of storms moved through. So that's what we'll watch for this morning, gusty winds. The wind calming down for this afternoon behind the front. We're sitting in the 60s right now, but we are going to drop down into the 50s for the second half of the day as we dry out across the region, but still going to keep a lot of these clouds overhead. Looking at your weekend forecast, some more showers showing up for your Saturday, some scattered snow showers possible on Sunday, and then more active weather through next week.
Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:28, things a little bit dicier out there. This is 65 at the outer loop, and it's got a lot wetter out there. And obviously, the winds are picking up, so you see a lot more increased traffic lights out there, and the windshield wipers are definitely going to be a necessity today. We are keeping our eyes on 2 separate incidents, though. This morning, we have a one-car crash, 264 East at the area of Taylorsville Road. Also, a one-car crash at 264 East approaching Dixie Highway.
Hey, good morning to you. Happy Friday. We made it to Friday, and I know today's the big day for IU fans. Indiana taking on Oregon in the Peach Bowl, so we'll have to see who comes out on top in that one. The winner will play Miami in the national championship game. We'll get an update from sports reporter Dusty Baker. He's in Atlanta. We'll hear from him in just a few minutes. Plus, we have a sit-down interview with U.S. Senator Rand Paul, and then we're going to talk about trees in Louisville. Just stick with me. We'll get to all of that. The leader of a group of parents who works to make sure JCPS students are safe at bus stops is now being recognized for helping a student who had a medical emergency. This happened at the bus stop at 10th Street and Chestnut Street on Thursday morning. The founder of Men Against Gun Violence, Kamal Wells, says the student was collapsed and seizing. Wells pulled her away from the roadway, helped her regain consciousness, and stayed with her until her mother and paramedics arrived. Wells says it's just another way his nonprofit serves their mission of protecting students from potential danger.
Anytime a child is safe, being in a situation and we're able to assist and help them to be safe and to make it to school and do what they need to do at school, I'm happy.
What a great act there. Metro Council member Ken Herndon says Wells and his group will be formally honored at a Metro Council meeting later this month. A new safety alert from LMPD as they're looking for people who they believe are connected to two recent shootings. So take a look at this picture first. LMPD says 39-year-old Shoshana Jones is wanted for murder. Police say she shot and killed a woman at the McDonald's on East Market Street on New Year's Eve. The name of the victim has not been released yet. Police say Jones is considered armed and dangerous, so if you see her, you should contact LMPD. LMPD also looking for a person accused of shooting a teenager Monday afternoon. LMPD says the teen was shot near the intersection of Dover Road and Beanock Avenue. Investigators say the victim had his backpack stolen at PRP High School, so he and his father were trying to get it back. That's when police say 3 people in dark clothes seen in these photos started shooting at the father and son.
We are working closely with JCPS Police Department in attempting to identify these individuals and gain more information as far as the altercation that may have took place at PRP High School with this stolen backpack. We are asking for any information that anybody might have on this investigation.
The teen is expected to survive his injuries. Police say this dark-colored vehicle pictured here belongs to the suspect. So if you know anything about this case, you should contact the anonymous tip line. The lawyer for a woman accused of hitting and killing a man with her car on Preston Highway just days before Christmas argues she did nothing wrong. Pamela Spear is charged with manslaughter in the case. Police say she was driving in the turn lane when she hit and killed Isaac Barkley on December 22nd. Investigators say Spear was driving too fast in the turn lane when that crash happened. Spear's lawyer argues she was just trying to make a turn.
Judge, the simple of this is that December 22nd, Preston Highway is jammed up. There's standstill traffic. She's going to make a left turn. She gets into the turn lane, which it's not illegal to drive in. 2 individuals ran into that traffic, and one stepped right in front of her and was hit. She called 911. She stayed. She did everything. She was released. She was examined for DUI. She was totally stone cold sober, and she was released.
Spear is expected back in court on January 16th. Well, they are all around us and do a lot of work for us, but do we take our trees for granted? Maybe you don't even think about those trees. But in Louisville, we have an organization called Trees Louisville. We actually talk to them pretty often here at WAVE, and they think about those things all the time. In this What's Good story, WAVE News anchor Myra Ansari tells us how Trees Louisville is thinking about the future of those trees around you.
You've probably heard the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. It means if you focus on the small things, you miss the bigger picture.
All right, watch the top.
But that's not what Trees Louisville is doing.
As our world is changing, we need to adapt what trees we're planting.
These trees are a part of Trees Louisville's assisted migration program.
I spent a lot of time in nature when I was young, so I have this affinity for it.
Aw, these leaves are so cute.
These 50 trees,
They're not native to us.
come from environments different than ours.
Well, they have like a purplish hue leaf.
From Oklahoma, where it's hot and dry, and Georgia, where it's more humid.
This is a burr. This is a chinkapin oak. We have some cypress, bald cypress right here.
Why do we need them? Well, imagine looking into a crystal ball and thinking, what will our environment be like in the future?
We know our climate is changing. Things are getting warmer. It's 60 degrees in the middle of January. They say on average, a tree on the street might be only 15-year lifespan. We want to grow trees that can live 50 to 100 years, but what does Louisville look like in 100 years? Temperatures might be a lot different.
If climate change does get as bad as, some people are saying it's going to be, then there's a study that says that Louisville is supposed to be as hot as New Orleans in 60 years. Who knows if it will be, but if it is, we got some trees from down there, so we're ready for it. We won't have a massive loss in canopy.
This is a big boy.
This new group of trees will be tracked and studied, planted at several key locations, like the KYTC Fairgrounds entrance,
Acer platanoides,
New Walnut Park, Ballard Park, and Jefferson Community and Technical College.
Be able to watch them and see, do the bur oaks that grew in Oklahoma grow better and are more hardy than the ones that we're maybe buying from Indiana or Tennessee?
While we may take for granted the hard work that trees do, here's a reminder. Think about the shade, clean air, water management, support to wildlife, increase in property values, and how they boost our mental well-being.
But I just like seeing them in winter because when the tree's really large and it has a lot of those wings.
Trees Louisville is making sure our urban forest continues to thrive well into the future.
Maybe our great-great-grandchildren, having this data that we collected and being able to say, wow, they started something and there's, proof of it and we're enjoying the benefits of it.
So Trees Louisville is actually testing these trees for resilience during Louisville's colder winters, which are harsher than those of their original growing regions in the South. The trees that prove to be successful, though, will be introduced to wholesale nurseries, making them available in commercial quantities for broader use around the city and region, but only time will tell. We'll be right back. We're getting lots of reaction from lawmakers and officials about that fatal shooting in Minneapolis by ICE agents. Senator Rand Paul says he's still processing this. Wave News reporter Rob Wells talked to him on Thursday to get his take on that and the other events affecting the White House and our nation.
Senator Rand Paul says the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent is complicated to dissect.
These things are so emotional and people are in the streets, and I just don't have enough facts to decide who's in the right, who's in the wrong.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said that Good tried to hit the agent and called it an act of domestic terrorism. Witnesses say the shooting was unjustified. Meanwhile, city leaders feel ICE agents should now leave.
People calling for the Department of Homeland Security not to be there are also the same people that presided over the $9 billion worth of fraud that primarily the Somalian community is accused of stealing. So I don't think they've been doing a very good job overseeing this.
On the president's plan to absorb Greenland into the United States, not excluding by military force, Paul, who also sits on the Foreign Relations Committee, is clear.
I just don't think there's significant support for military action, and I won't support it.
He says a brokered deal would work to acquire the country with some benefits to the United States.
There's been talk of rare earth minerals. There's talk of it being an outpost for our military. But, our military is already there.
Finally, when it comes to the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, Paul says the president made the right move, though there may be repercussions.
The regime wasn't replaced. One part of the regime was removed. So the vice president is in charge now, and there are reports that there are repercussions on the people, particularly the opponents.
Senator Paul adds he hopes this takedown of Maduro in Venezuela will set a new path of freedom and democracy for its people. President Donald Trump says the Venezuelan opposition leader is coming to the U.S. next week. The president told Fox News he looks forward to seeing Maria Corina Machado during her visit to Washington, D.C. Days ago, President Trump told reporters that Machado is a, quote, very nice woman, but he added he doesn't feel she has enough support or respect of Venezuelans to lead the country. Machado previously dedicated her Nobel Peace Prize to the U.S. president. And just hours ago, President Trump says he is canceling a second wave of attacks on Venezuela. In a post on Truth Social, the president says he changed plans after Venezuela agreed to release a large number of political prisoners. He also says the country is working with the U.S. to build new oil and gas infrastructure. Today, President Trump is expected to meet with CEOs of oil companies to discuss investing in Venezuela's massive oil reserves. The House passed a bill that would extend health care enhanced subsidies for 3 years. They had expired at the end of last year. A total of 17 Republicans joined Democrats in passing the measure. It was brought to the House floor in a result of a discharge petition. Right now, it does not appear the bill has enough votes to advance in the Senate. A medical situation is forcing NASA to end mission at the International Space Station a month early. NASA says an unnamed crew member has experienced an undisclosed medical issue and is in stable condition. As a result, the agency is planning to return 4 astronauts back to Earth. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman says it's the right call to bring them home.
In the meantime, NASA astronaut Chris Williams, having launched to the station on November 27th on Soyuz MS-28, maintains our American presence in space and will support the space station's operations and scientific efforts.
A new crew is expected to join Williams on the ISS soon. The decision to cut the mission short due to health reasons is a first for NASA in 65 years, but we are certainly thinking about that astronaut. Hopefully they are safe on that mission back to Earth too. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with some headlines in sports. We are counting down to the Winter Olympics and also keeping up with some of the athletes you'll see out there. World champion Kayla Kuhn is an aerial skier. One of her signature tricks is flipping in the air. It's a very dangerous skill to even try. It takes a lot of focus to execute it safely. Here's Kuhn detailing what she relies on while on top of the hill.
Kayla Kuhn, the only American woman in the big final here in aerials.
You know, I think she's talking to her future self.
Do you do anything to mentally prepare yourself?
Oh, dear. Okay. Well, I normally start with closing my eyes. From there, imagining a river with lots of leaves floating down it. And every thought, good or bad, I imagine coming out of my brain and landing on a leaf and floating down the river. It's just something to calm your heart rate down and get your mind clear before you turn your skis and go. I'm Kayla Kuhn. I'm a U.S. aerial skier, and I'm from Boyne City, Michigan.
She is competing triples for the first time in her career.
At the top, I was taking deep breaths, and I oddly felt really calm, so I just sent it. When everything comes to fruition, it's really an indescribable feeling.
Kayla Kuhn of the United States is a world champion in women's aerials.
So Kuhn won the 2025 Women's Aerial World Championship. She is the youngest American to win and the only female skier to break the 100-point mark, and she is only 22 years old. The Olympic opening ceremony will begin on February 6th, with the games continuing through the 22nd. And remember, WAVE is your home for the Olympics, and we will give you all of the highlights that you want to see. Well, UK women's basketball was on the road last night, trying to stay unbeaten in conference play. They were taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. This one started close. The Cats were up 1 at the end of the first quarter, but that was pretty much it. That's when Alabama took over. By the end of the third quarter, the Cats saw themselves down by 17 points, tried to mount a comeback, but it wasn't enough. Kentucky dropped just their second game of the season by a final score of 64-51. UK will be back in action on Sunday, hosting the 5th-ranked team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners. Tip-off for that one is at 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, the 10th-ranked U of L women's basketball team also in action, playing at Miami. This one was at 3 o'clock, though. Seems a little bit unusual, but that's because Hurricane fans wanted to watch their football team in the Fiesta Bowl. They went on to win that game. The Cards, though, looking to stay perfect in conference play. The first half in this one, back and forth with the Hurricanes taking a 2-point lead into halftime, but the third quarter, that was all Cards, and it was enough for them to stay on top. The final score, 77-68 Cards. U of L claims their 8th straight win, and they stay tied in the lead for the ACC. Moving now to high school hoops, especially in the state of Indiana, because we know how serious they take their basketball. Jeffersonville faced off against close rival New Albany yesterday. This one was originally scheduled for today, but once again, football kind of bumping the timing for that. They moved it up a day so fans could watch IU in the Peach Bowl tonight. In front of a packed house at New Albany, Jacob Wilkerson did his best to try to keep Jeffersonville competitive in this one, scoring 17 points. But the Dogs had the best player on the court, with sophomore Noah Washington dropping 30 on Jeff. New Albany wins this one 79-56, snapping a 5-year winless streak against Jeffersonville and the 177th edition of the game. Now looking to football, where St. X High School has named its new head coach after their former coach just retired. Brian Landis, a Cincinnati native, will take over the Tiger leadership next season. According to the school, Landis has been coaching since 2006. He started at his alma mater, Georgetown College, as a defensive backs coach. He was also on staff at Kentucky University, the University of Kentucky, and Eastern Kentucky University at times before he moved to the high school level. Landis coached at Frederick Douglass High School in Lexington, helped start that program from scratch in 2017. He says he is so excited to become part of this famed St. X Trinity rivalry here in Louisville.
Unbelievable. You know, I cannot wait to get in that stadium and just feel that juice. You know, I've been in Auburn, I've been in Florida, I've been in Tennessee, I've been in all those big environments, great environments in the Sun Belt Conference, and there's nothing like a Friday night. So that, you know, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Welcome him to Louisville. Landis becomes the 20th head coach in St. X football history. And we've been talking about it all day. Today, Indiana will take on Oregon for a chance to go to the national championship game. It's a brand new territory for the Hoosiers, who have never been in this position before. They have set so many benchmarks for this program. The change was sparked by IU head coach Curt Cignetti, who's had a lengthy journey to get to where he is today. Sports reporter Dusty Baker explains how he has had the key inspiration for Cignetti's success.
Well, it's no secret that head coach Curt Cignetti has risen to the top as far as head coaches in the country. But of course, you have to start somewhere. And Coach Curt Cignetti certainly starting from the bottom, but inspired by one of the better coaches and the best in his life, his own father.
I had a great upbringing. I knew in third grade I wanted to coach.
Cignetti's father, Frank Cignetti, was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2013 after coaching at West Virginia and Indiana University of Pennsylvania, also known as IUP.
I learned so much from my dad. He had a little John Wayne and Clint Eastwood in him.
Cignetti took after his father and spent his early career as an assistant, but it took a while to land his first major gig.
Part of it was because I was with programs that weren't successful.
He joined Nick Saban at Alabama in 2007.
Once I went with Nick, I felt like I got what I needed.
Before taking over as head coach at IUP in 2011.
I bet on myself. You know, it was a very unorthodox move. I mean, almost crazy move.
After several years at Elon and James Madison, he saw his hard work pay off.
You know, I didn't like being a coach and a recruiting coordinator. And my dad used to tell me that's going to come in handy someday.
That it did, landing the Hoosiers job in 2023 and earning a $93 million extension back in October.
I think my journey makes a lot of sense, how it prepared me for this particular situation.
When Coach Cignetti was hired by IU, he went viral for saying, "Google me, I win." He has, in fact, done just that. He's gone 44-6 overall as a head coach. And he's looking for that sweetest 45th victory if he can take down the Ducks on Friday night here in Atlanta. Reporting in downtown Atlanta, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports.
Google me, I win. Drop the mic moment there. And yesterday, Cignetti won the Dodd Trophy Coach of the Year. There are multiple Coach of the Year awards given out in college football, but that is certainly a big honor. Congratulations to him. He's the first IU football coach to win that award. And on top of that, the first Heisman Trophy winner for IU, Fernando Mendoza. The lot of first here for Indiana football. Excited to see how it pans out for them. Thanks so much for joining us here for Sunrise Extra. I hope you have a great Friday and a great week. And we'll see you next week.